Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahushua, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahushua, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bahashim, Barak Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, man. You Akim, there's a Dakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shaman, and this week's topic is going to be entitled, The Nations Are Adopting America's Tactics. Alright, American war tactics, I should say. And the inspiration for the show comes from the fact that Iran, and we've been talking about this throughout the week, the alliance between the Russians, the Iranians, so-called Russians, and Syria. The fact that Iran, despite all those bombings from Israel and all the bombings from Saudi Arabia, they stood firm. And they held their ground in the land of Syria, and they have no intentions on leaving. Now, this is very familiar to the American war politics of once they get there, don't leave. You know what I'm saying? And the Iranians and the Russians are not leaving. In fact, Turkey, the United States, they're there illegally in the land of Syria. All right, but we know ultimately that Turkey, pursuant to the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, is going to lean towards the Russian alliance. Turkey in the Bible is referred to as Tubal. All right, that land is the land is Tubal. Originally the Japhites. All right, it's also referred to as Asia Minor. And it's prophesied that there's going to be confederate with Gog and Magog, which that land is the land of Russia. All right, now we know that Turkey, President Erdogan. All right, he actually made a safe zone, a buffer zone, because he wants all those illegal immigrants that fled. All those refugees that fled what was going on to Syria, he wants them back in their own particular homeland because that was hurting him politically. Now guess what? Turkey has no intentions of leaving Syria. And we're seeing that these nations are moving just like how America used to move. There was a point in time when America was the big bad. Going back to Isaiah the 14th chapter, they had nuclear capabilities. Now, America still, overall has the largest most powerful military, spending damn near $750 billion per year on the military budget. I think Russia spends about 1/10 of that, but they have the capability to completely wipe out each other, and it's a constant arms race. We're in Cold War II, if you will. We're in Cold War II. And these nations are saying, look, at one time America could police a nation, dictate a nation, but now these nations are finding means to go around American politics. American enforcement, man. All right, the United States is no longer the police of the world, and we see now Russia, all right, is fulfilling that role of being that next superpower that is admired by these other nations. Don't get it twisted. Just because you got several different nations in NATO is just a guise for the United States military. All right, the United States military used NATO as a guise to infiltrate countries that are close to their adversaries' borders, i.e., Georgia and Ukraine. All right, I'm not familiar if Ukraine is an official part of NATO, but they did the same thing with Montenegro. All right, why did they have Montenegro join the NATO alliance? Because of Russian pipelines that run through Montenegro. All right, so we see that they're trying to hurt Russia like that. All this political stuff that you see going on is all being puppeteered by the Heavenly Father to set up the stage for World War III. Now, in the book of Joel, it tells us that the Most High is going to gather the nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat is talking about over there in the Middle East, all right? And that's where you see all these nations are gathered right now in the land of Syria, man, all right? Syria is bringing, and not just Syria, but different nations, man. Iraq, Iran, which guess what? Iraq and Iran is not confederate. A lot of nations over there is looking up to Iran, all right? Because after they destabilized Iraq and left the economy completely fucked up, they just abandoned it. And guess what? Eventually, Iran and Iraq joined forces, man, to help build up that region again. And who are they coming against? They're coming against the allies of America. All right? They're coming against Israel. Don't you know, pursuant to the Bible, it tells us that not only America will be wiped off the face of the map, but also the land of Israel. But unlike America, all right, the land of Israel will be built back up again, man. All right. But you can see that they're being hated over there in the Middle East because they're doing unjust bombings, all right? And those so-called Jews over there are not the real Jews. You know, Jeremiah 14:2, a classic scripture, let us know that the real Jews are a dark-skinned nation, primarily the Negroes that you see over here, scattered amongst the West Indian and Haitians and the different tribes, all right? But the Negroes, all right, between the Deuteronomy 28 chapter and 68 verse, are the tribe of Judah. And they only have one tribe over there, so as the Bible said, a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, the so-called Edomite, not the so-called Edomite, the Edomites, or the so-called white man is dwelling in that land right now. And in the book of 2 Kings, the 17 chapters tells us expressly, if you don't have the right people dwelling in that land and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, the land is going to come against you. All manners of evil is going to come upon that land. It's just like a foreign substance in your body, how your body will reject it. Well, those people over there are a foreign substance, man. But going back to the topic of hand, all right, all these nations, one time America could say, look, get the fuck out of there. We're here now. They're not listening to that. You got Iran that's going to stay in there. You have Turkey that's going to stay in there. And you have Russia that's going to stay in there. And a democratically elected president, all right, Assad, invited Russia and invited Iran in there, man. Not Turkey and the United States. And guess what? The coup failed, man. All these ISIS and Al Qaeda and proxy rebel groups that you sent over there to destabilize that country, guess what? They unified, man. They stood strong. So we're gonna see the prophecy fulfilled when it says that the nations shall hate the whore. That whore that it's talking about that sit upon the beast is America. And these nations are starting to despise America. And America has put himself in their own shoes, man. As Vladimir Putin says, you know, we're trying to work with the dollar, but the United States is trying to make us hate the dollar with all these different sanctions that they're putting on countries, which don't hurt countries, the rich. It hurts the poor. It hurts the average folks out there, man, in hopes that they will cause a revolution. But all that's going to do is just make you despise the country that you're putting sanctions on and make these nations become more nationalist and unify and come against America. Ultimately fulfilling prophecy. Now, I know the dollar is still propped up, but we know that the dollar has to fall, all right? And this is all being done by design, man. This is all being done by design. If you look at every currency in the world, they're all doing fucked up. They're all doing shitty. They're all doing bad, and this is by design, all right? And if you want to get technical, it's the Most High working on the elites to think that they're executing a master plan, but really, they're all just fulfilling Bible prophecy. Because the chip is a part of prophecy, man. The chip has to come to pass. And for that to happen, this currency has to fail, man. Using cash has to become inconvenient, and that's what they're leaning towards, man. I just got out the grocery store, and there was a huge line backed up, and the reason that it was backed up is because a majority of people wanted to use cash, and I guess the cash machine system was down. It was only taking credit cards, you know. So I could see them saying something like, "We only taking chip," which they are going to put that to pass, all right. And so-called white man is going to let you know, like, look, this RFID microchip is the mark of the beast, man, because the scriptures speak about the sin of ignorance, all right? We believe that the Most High is going to have the so-called white man just come out and say, look, this is the chip, man. This is the mark of the beast. And you people are going to take it in grows, man, because you're conditioned, all right, to take the next thing that's convenient for you. You know? The spirit had me all over the place, but you know how the spirit works. The American empire is losing power, all right? And these other nations are coming together, unifying, and becoming more and more powerful. And America's trump card, nuclear technology, nuclear missiles, they can't use that no more, all right? Because all these nations have missiles, all right? All these nations have intercontinental ballistic missiles. Not all these nations, pardon me, all right? But Russia primarily has intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right, and different sorts of missiles that even the playing field, man. You know? And yeah, America got a shit ton of missiles too, so they're gonna get their shit off and hit all these different major cities across the world that's gonna come against them. All right, but ultimately, the Mossad is gonna have the Russian missiles and the missiles from that's gonna come from Iran and come from even America's current allies, such as Britain. You know, as loyal as Britain is to America, the scriptures in Jeremiah tells you that your mother shall be confounded by thee, something to that effect. All right? All these nations that the United States is allied with, such as Israel and Saudi Arabia, even though they have an arms deal with them, they have yet to sell them cruise missiles, Tomahawk cruise missiles. They don't sell that. They don't sell their cruise missiles because of the technology. But you know what? The United States sold their cruise missiles to Britain because Britain is a long-time ally. But even your long-time ally is going to turn their back on you pursuant to prophecy. We don't know how, but this is going to come to pass and shoot missiles upon this place. With that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Mills. I want you well. And salutations to the hopeful elect out there, man. You Akim Tasadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.